Hello everyone, this is Micoy. Hey, back at it again. This time we're going to review the TPP Grand Finals to determine our Grand Champions between the Lawbridge Lopanese and the Full Moon Frostmoths. So, interesting that these two made it this far. Now, I know what happened during the semifinals. They, Leverage Lopanese, of course, defeating the Bounce Beats, and then Full Moon Frostmoths defeating the Absol Posters through the tiebreaker. So now we're gonna discuss how these two paired up. Obviously, of course, the Lawbridge Lopanese, one of the lower ranked teams, while as the Full Moon Frostmoths were one of the higher ranked teams. So it's interesting to see that dynamic being presented in this grand final, and of course. And this one I prefer a bit more than a straight up Absol versus Lopanese, because we know Absols are going to win there. So here we go. First on the match is the Stab Mines Almost Any Ability match between Elgino and Pap. Elgino just played very well. He brought some really interesting sets, like a Choice Banded Zarude, which it's very good in some cases, but against Pap's team, which mostly resists Zarude's entire set, that could pose a problem. But there was a couple of sets which I found interesting, like this Cura, which is either Magic Guard or Sheer Force. I don't know which one it is, but it's proven to be very effective. And of course, the Iron Defense, Body Press, Corviknight, which served him well, which is one of the best, like the most. I don't want to say most common, but it is definitely one of the more standard stab sets in terms of it, because Corviknight's really, really good at body pressing things. So there. Elgino just played really well. Pap didn't really have an answer to Elgino. He just mainly outplayed, which is awesome. Next up is the Stab Mons plus Mix and Mega between iOS and Tectonic Destroyer. iOS won, which surprised me because I had Tech winning in the finals. But yeah, iOS, who's been mid so far in this TPP, has proven to be very, very good, especially with the sets he brings, like this Eternatus set with Power Herb, Meteor Beam. That's very good, but there he has Tectonic has the resists of the Magirna and Terrakia, which proven to be very effective. However, Invalid OS just played well. He just played his Spectrier well, and it was able to kill. Even Blissey took a massive hit from Spectrier, which, knowing what Blissey is and how defensive it gets, it's mind-blowing. And that's just go to show you how powerful these sets can be. And so iOS easily took the win there over a Tectonic Destroyer. Next up is the Ranbats battle between Mistras, Leoxys, and Trace. I hope I'm pronouncing those right. Trace won, which was very expected, because Trace is very much an all-arounder, but mostly a Ranbats expert. He's played a lot of Ranbats as before. He has muchos experiencios in this sort of field, and he just really played well. Nothing else to say there. Like this first game with the Moltres. He's very, very dominant performances there by Trace. And it took it to 3 games though, so it wasn't as dominant, but you knew going ahead that Trace was going to win. Next up is Easy versus Starreal in the OU matches. We're not going to talk about that because, that was based off an act win. So let's just move on to probably another one of the biggest surprises here. We got Not a Racist versus Jolly Togekiss. Jolly Togekiss has played well throughout this entire TPP. Don't get me wrong. He's definitely one of the best Camo players, probably the best Camo players in this pool. But Nate continuing to be Mr. Upset and winning against mono players, which he stood a chance in. But you know, and of course, and the matchup Nate got was pretty impressive too. Like, um, Jolly Tokikis had Ghost, while Nate had Dark, which is, you know, a good sign of a good advantage matchup. And yeah, it came down to the Spectre turns. IMO, like, if Jolly Tokikis' Spectre was fast, can outspeed, it definitely would have won. But yeah, overall, in terms of matchup and in terms of prep, JT has unfortunately lost to Nate. Not a dig against Nate, though. Nate's been freaking impressive. Like, the win over Kither was mind-blowing. But yeah. Next up is part 2 of the Memoric Surfy series, where Memoric basically, he just outplayed. Like, what else can I say? Memoric is easily the best doubles NU player in this pool. Frostmont's had a great buy with him, only going for 14k, which I rechecked in the spreadsheets. He only went for 14k, guys. Like, that is a steal and a half if I ever saw one. And of course, Memoric brought some very interesting teams, I would say. Like, the definitely the choice scarf trick on the Registeel basically sealed the deal for him. Like, he called the trick, and it was on the right mon, which is Registeel, which is the mon he was tricking, and then overall just dominated with Toxtricity and Ribombi. Very, very impressive there from Memoric. Next up is Fat Fighter versus Frosty Island. Again, not much to say there. Fat Fighter basically dominated Frosty with a strong team, like a very strong team. It was definitely, and you can tell the experience from Frosty. Like, oh no, the experience from Fat Fighter. Sorry. You can tell that he's been honing his craft in this pool, and overall just had a really good team against Frosty's team. Not a dig on Frosty. He's really good, but he's only suited for rounds. Ha! Sorry, Frosty, if you're watching this. Anyway, last game, Tony Flygon versus GXE. I pulled off a pretty good same six, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, this same six right here is probably the most even same six of the bunch I've sent to the thread as a whole. That's not to say that carried over for the other same six that I did this week. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But yeah, Tony Flygon absolutely dominated GXE. Just amazingly played well. You can tell that Tony has been very, very good in terms of building. Has had the most creative, fun sets in the store, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But yeah, Tony, absolutely, he played well. Continuing to be the best same six player in this pool. So, with all that done, the score is 4-4 though. So, I wonder what that could lead to, guys. I wonder, and you can see the thread, the very, very mild edit of the thread head as it is. Waiting, loading. Oh, and spoiler alert in case you didn't already know, or you haven't been following the TPP thread as well. There you go. Oh, spoiler alert. But let's just run through what happened basically in this tiebreaker situation between. I didn't even edit it. I didn't even edit it. Hold on. Okay, so of course I'm gonna be editing this after, because I have a lot to edit. Anyway, hey, the tiebreaker between Leverage Japanese and the Full Moon Frostmods. First, starting off with Elgina versus iOS, which happened first. Which, okay, I expected this to go I expected their matches to go like this. He's match first, then Memoric's match next, and then the decider, which is Stabon Speaks and Mega, because both iOS and LG fairly good, but also had middling performances. Like that is an easy decider. So I'm kind of surprised that it went first out of the three. So well, iOS has honest, and the match was pretty. It wasn't iOS's best played match. Like Elgino absolutely caught some of the plays that iOS was going for. It all came down. Let's see here. I'm currently rewatching the replay as it is. Oh yeah. iOS's biggest problem is that he couldn't break the Snorlax Entei team that Elgino brought. And it was a really good Snorlax set too, like Curse, multi attack, Slack Off with Aggronite. Very interesting that thing with the Aggronite, and of course the immunity play was awesome. Proving the fact that yes, Snorlax is very unkillable in any given tier. But also the Entei, he didn't really have anything for Entei. And the bro and the Slowbro was, could have been the one to do it. It also very very questionable plays, of course, from iOS, like the Spectral Thief sending it to Renirigus. Like, why are you letting him get those boosts? I get it again. Oh, and here's the closing segment. So, the Terrakion play, like the Terrakion play was the big decider. Like, definitely Invalidois should have went and stayed in and sacked Bro. Oh. So he couldn't have get the Swords Dance in. Oh no. He had Pheromosa out first. Sorry. All right. Let me try this. Let me explain this again. So it was Pheromosa versus Terrakion. But iOS preferred to switch, which was the big mistake because Terrakion Swords Danced the next turn. So it wouldn't have called that during that turn. I don't know if he would have called that turn if he would have switched, or he realized that it was a bit too late to call the switch in for Terrakion to do the Swords Dance and then ultimately the Diamond Storm and the Accelerock. But yeah, that basically sealed the fate for iOS, and unfortunately Terrakion just kind of swept everything. And finally, the next match to happen was Memoric versus Surfy Part 3, which Memoric absolutely dominated Surfy again. So this was pretty quick when I caught this live. This went pretty quick, I'd say. Hey, especially with the Regigigas plays. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the Psycha. Oh, of course. Oh, well, no, not the Psycha play, but the Clanging Scales Como. Basically, the seal. It sealed the fate. No matter how much. And then of course the Psycha. Very very expert play there by Memoric, allowing him to go 10-0. 10-0. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So Memoric absolutely kind of shredded Surfy in this one. Like the plays he did were much more emphatic, and in the end, just Surfy couldn't handle the Como. Just ended up losing that one. So yeah, there you go. So that's the end of TPP. Fortunately, the Full Moon Frostmots are now your grand champions. They've succeeded now the Absolute Posters in terms of, holding the title. So yeah, that's the end of TPP. You guys, it's been a fun road, and I want to give shout outs to, you know, in this video, I want to just give shout outs to people who have helped me throughout this tour. First of all, shout outs to, the tour staff, the tours and Plaza staff for allowing me to volunteer to host this tour. Like, it's definitely it's definitely one of the biggest undertakings of my entire career as a Showdown player, but it's also been one of the most fun ones because I got to talk to so many people. I've got to meet so many big established names and gotten to, basically, yeah, basically talk to everyone. It was a very fresh experience, and I've gotten to know so many people. It was really good. Second of all, shout outs to TPP, Smaga and Mod TPP for helping me sort out the more major decisions going into TPP. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like, if ever I was in a pinch, like in terms of, mistakes on scheduling or a player being inactive, TPP was there to help, and thanks to him, I got to, grow and make decisions for myself and be more objective in terms of sorting out what to do. So thank you so much to TPP. And of course, thank you to the managers for being so cooperative, being so being open to talk to. I know my time zone is the worst. I'm GMT +8 for those who don't know. My time zone is very hard to work around, especially with the -40ends and the Europeans and the North American times. It's very hard when some drama could be happening when at the time when I was asleep. Very, very hard to do. But I appreciate the managers for, at least he's cooperating and able to figure out their solutions, because I wouldn't have been able to do that on my own 2 feet. So yeah, thank you, of course. I already gave my thank yous to the tour staff, but specifically to Thinkarino and Noah for, helping me. He was sorting out some of the thread issues, some of the whether that be sorting out all the big decisions for globals or on a global scale, or structuring the tour format as it is. Like, it's been a very very big project, and thanks to them, it was able to I would keep this thing organized as much as possible. So yeah. And of course, I want to give a big thank you to everyone who has competed, participated, or just seen all of TPP, how the entire tour was going ahead. It certainly has been a very stressful. I will not deny that this has been a very stressful thing to do, having to manage all of this for almost 2 months, and I had college stuff up as well. It was definitely one of the more complicated things, but you know what? You made it all fun. You all made it fun, and I really respect each and every one of you who, as players, because I'm a noob, and all of you are much more experienced at this stuff than I am. Also, to everyone who has participated in the process of making this tour, all the tiers, all the prizes, all of the major decisions, and so yeah, thank you so much to everyone who has participated, and I'll definitely host another tours related event in the future, just not now or soon, because I needed a break from all this. Like, I just want to play Mons, okay? I just want to relax, chill, and play Mons. That's the big 3 factors in going into Pokemon Showdown right now, especially right now. Jesus Christ. So anyway, thank you so much for watching this finals recap. Tune in soon because I will give out special awards, and I'm gonna have PokeArt with me again to co-host with me to do awards for TPP, like best player, best game, meme moment, worst like set ever. Or all of them will be all of them good stuff will be in the future. But for the meantime, this has been Micoy signing out.